So, I don't think I'm liking this season very much. Yellow, my little filmer dudes, and my super sleuths. I think this week we're gonna have a little bit of a different type of video where it's gonna be a discussion. Let's discuss Only Murders in the Building season 5 so far. Super sleuths, how are we feeling about, you know what? No. Fans, how are we feeling about this season so far? In terms of shaking things up for the entire franchise, is this a franchise or is this an IP? Is this an IP, right? Or am I confused? But for the entirety of Only Murders in the Building, this is good. Getting back to the roots of the Arconia building, getting in with the mafia, with the mob, because who doesn't love the mafia? However, in terms of presentation for the season of the mystery as a whole, I'm not too sure. In my brain, season 1 is perfect. Season 3 is nearly perfect. Season 4, I personally connected with so deeply that I ignore the flaws. I understand and I see them, but I liked it. Plus, I got 100% right first try, first episode. Season 2, I appreciate the visual artistry, but the story was a little weak. And now with season 5, I don't feel as connected as I do with past seasons. Yet that could very well be my own fault for not having seen that many mafia or mob media in my lifetime. At least not enough to understand what's happening. And if that's the case, is that what happened with all of you guys for season 4? Again, I was having the absolute time of my life, but that's because I personally connected with Marshall so deeply as a failed wannabe writer. It's sad, but it's true, and I thought it all made sense. Everything, like the whole thing. I even got the subtle nuances and references to Hollywood and how Hollywood is made, how Hollywood is done. Season 4 was solely made for me and only me. Name a better person with whom you that would be able to connect with this season anymore. Marshall and I are both brown. And honestly, I can't really say the same thing about this season. Not the brown thing, just that don't personally connect with it. And that's simply because I haven't seen a lot of crime dramas, which is ironic because I actually do like crime dramas. I just haven't gotten around to watching them. Maybe I will now. Maybe I will now. However, if this season is going to truly say that the mayor is behind all of this, then I don't know, maybe I'm the one that's out of touch with this genre then. The mayor, in my humble opinion, is too much of an obvious choice for it to be actually the mayor. I guarantee you, later on in this season, the mayor is going to look like, oh, he is the one pulling all the strings, and probably like a cliffhanger, then it's going to be quickly revealed, oh, it's not the mayor. He's just a red herring. I almost guarantee you that is where it's headed, right? Is it not? Is it not? It is. It is. Anyway, don't get me wrong. I am enjoying this season, just not as much as I would other seasons. Anyway, don't get me wrong. I am enjoying this season only because it's Only Murders in the Building. But I wouldn't say that I'm enjoying the experience overall. It's like the newest iOS updates. You're enjoying it because it's the newest updates. It's new, it's flashy, but deep down, you're not enjoying it as much as you would if you had the older updates. Only Murder season 5. And I realized what the problem is for season 5, at least for me, and that is that the season is not art-based. Seasons 1 through 4 have all been art-based or art-themed. Season 1, podcast, a little bit of music. Season 2, painting and expressionism. Season 3, music and theater, musical theater. Season 4, film. But season 5, it's just mafia themed. There's really no art theming to guide us through this season thematically. I mean, I say this so often, but I genuinely believe that this is the point of Only Murders in the Building. What did Jan say in season 2 about the murderer, at least? The murderer is an artist. The murderer every season has been, majorly, artists, except for this season. And this season is the season that feels like the most weird, with the most plot holes and loose plot threads all around. At least, again, to me. I've prepared a thesis statement for Only Murders in the Building that I like to share with you, that I realized this is what Only Murders is about. Only Murders in the Building is about the art of murder. Therefore, it is also about the art of uncovering murder as well. So they both go hand in hand. Without that artistic link, I do feel that Only Murders in the Building is at one of its weakest, which is crazy to say because season 2 exists. So it'll be interesting to see what the fan reaction is to this season as a whole once everything is said and done, including my own. Am I going to like it? Am I going to appreciate it? I don't know. I'm just worried. But how are you feeling about the season so far compared to other seasons? I would like to know. Leave a comment down below. Now, I will say that there's a character this season who's getting a spotlight in a very, very meaningful way for me. I love this character since their first second on screen, and it's about time that we've given him some attention, some much needed, and the attention is due. And this episode gives him that proper attention, and it elevates him in such a brilliant way that it almost justifies the lack of an artistic presence this season. Not quite, but it's almost there. That character is Oliver Putnam. I don't know if I've said this on camera before or not, but I've definitely mentioned this to pretty much anybody who's watched the show and knows me. I am Oliver Putnam. Like, my God, Oliver, each season proves that he is me. And each season, they've given him just nuggets, just little nuggets of character development. And I would say these nuggets of personality of Oliver's life that fully explain Oliver. And to me, it makes me say, oh man, I understand Oliver probably more than anybody else that watches this show. Rocket Raccoon and Oliver Putnam, the two identities that just reside within me, constantly arguing. It gets crazy. That's why my tummy is not okay. Anyway, this episode shines Oliver in a brand new light. That boy, if Oliver isn't me, man. Now, I wasn't a foster kid. I had my own parents, my own very loving and very caring parents, but being first generation American Peruvian in a very quickly advancing technological world with parents from a third world country who could barely speak the new language and had to do everything that they could to provide for themselves and later a new family. It's just artistic ventures was not a money-making concrete idea, we'll just say. It wasn't directly discouraged, but rather it was just not taken seriously, so I guess inadvertently it was discouraged. So I mean, here I am. I mean, I would have a fedora. It would be a much goofier outfit, making flashy videos just to make people smile and laugh for a little bit, because we all enjoy removing ourselves from reality for just this, however long these videos end up being. Even if I'm wrong about George, it doesn't matter, because it's silly, it's fun, it's harmless, just like Oliver. Excluding Splash, just like Oliver, harmless. Consequently, spotlighting Oliver's artistic origin was hands down the best thing, the best scene from episode 5. Seeing Meryl Streep again as Loretta again, such a treat. That monologue, darling, my love, perfect. Then Oliver finally delivering his line was both beautiful and cathartic, and the two of them together, cuties. Still, I'm finally starting to feel a little bit of a drag this season. There's too many plot points, too many loose threads. They keep getting brought up and then ignored, and in past seasons I've ignored all of them, but now it's just causing confusion, because a lot of these things could be scenario A, or it could be scenario G, or it could be scenario 62. You don't know what it could be anymore, because the writers are not clear on any of these intents at all. Like, you need to tell us yay or nay. You can't just assume that we're going to assume, because we're going to overthink absolutely everything. Like Jay mentioning that they said that the body was found hung at the dry cleaners, but Charles never rehung the body and the police found it on the ground. So does that mean that the news said that he was hung up, or that they knew that he was hung up, but they don't listen to the news? You know, what is the clarification there? We should have seen a news clip of what was actually said, and then we should have heard Jay's reaction. The assumptioning is too much. I guess what I'm saying is what you guys are saying about last season, is that this season, is a little sloppy. At least it's watchable, unlike Murder at the End of the World, which I did. I watched one episode and I stopped halfway episode 2 because I'm so sorry, but the acting and the writing was just so bad. Thank God that is not the case here. The acting is phenomenal. The writing is to be determined, I suppose. I just feel so frustrated and so empty with the things that we are being given so far, because a lot of these episodes, they feel like filler to me. Does anyone else feel like these past 2.5 episodes have been mostly like 70 to 80% filler? I kind of feel like it has been. And I know that we're being told things to look out for. I just don't know enough about crime drama to know that I'm looking at the right things. Honestly, I'm just worried about the payoff. Who is behind all of this? Once again, my money is on George, the doorman. I could be wrong, but think about it. Why include someone like Bash Steed, who's always talking about technology and preservation of the past and of self, when the entire argument against George up until this moment was that George would be too old to be the one to do it? With Bash Steed, this is absolutely plausible. How do I know this? Exhibit A. Bash Steed. I am not going over this again. My theory stands 95% and it's in episode 4. So go watch it if you want. But there is an issue with my theory that I am acknowledging. And honestly, it's not really the biggest issue. It's just a thing that I'm worried that other people are going to be worried with regarding my issue. Or regarding my theory. If it is George, we've only seen him in the series in episode 2. That's once out of 6 episodes so far. Granted, we have seen him at least once in the first 3 episodes. The unspoken rule about the murderers of Only Murders in the Building is that you've seen them at least in the first 3 episodes. So that checks. However, he hasn't been around much at all. Or rather, he hasn't been around at all. In murder mysteries, the murderer should really be someone that is either around or that you could go back and say, my God, it was that person the whole time. Jan, Becky and the cop, Donna and Cliff, even Marshall, all of those people were around-ish throughout the series. So really, that's why I dropped the Bash is Steed idea. I don't think so. But it would be a more creative take. Just, is it too creative? Maybe, but whether it's George or Bash is George, either or, it would be a much more creative take than the cliche suspects. Mob wives, a mayor, billionaire mobsters. It's just too easy. Genuinely, I don't believe that anybody is directly involved, just by association. Once freaking again, I think the billionaires, Sophia and Lorraine, and perhaps even Randall, are all trying to protect the only murder in the building crew from the bigger person in charge running all of this, George, the doorman. That's why Sophia and Loretta keep giving items to the trio and acting like they have no idea what they are. The deck of cards, the bird whistle. So far, it's only 2 items, but still. And that's why the billionaires are trying to keep tabs on the trio and locking them out of the investigation because they don't want them to be hunted down by George. And it's clear that everybody is keeping a secret, and I do believe that secret is George the doorman. Because here's the thing, we didn't get any explanation on Tommy the Tongue. Is this a money laundering business that only exists on paper? Or is there a physical functioning brick and mortar business called Tommy the Tongue? If it exists, that's a weird name. But if it's only on paper, then where did Lester get all of the things for Oliver's wedding? The casino night? There's really not much time left this season to explain all of the things that need to be explained. God, this is how you guys felt for season 4. I apologize. Either way, this episode confirms what I've been saying about Althea. I was spot on about her motivation of being jealous of Mabel and their Arconia and doing things to make Mabel jealous. They did make up, so that's pretty nice. You don't see that very often, so yay. I just don't believe that Althea is involved with the murders. She's just another really, really good red herring, as well as the mayor. Charles this season is really freaking annoying. He hasn't really been funny to me, and Charles is usually funny, but the insanely immature and childish testosterone angle is not working for me, and I think that might be the commentary. It's just it's not funny. It's annoying. I feel like it's detracting some. Charles being horny is not funny. I'm with Mabel on this one. In fact, bring Lucy back. Dad Charles is way better than wannabe Daddy Charles. Please shelve Daddy Charles. As far as who took the finger and why, I mean, we already know who and why. The why, George wants his finger back. The who, Bash through Lester. That explains the rubber mark on Charles's ground. It also makes the most sense since Bash seemingly owns the entire universe. So let's say that it is Bash, or that it is the billionaires, or that it is George. Whoever the big bad guy is, they clearly have a ton of power, and they would be able to go get in and out of the Arconia however they wish. So to me, it's really not shocking that the person who set up the cameras last season is the same person who owns everything, but is also the same person who is employed by the bad guy to be able to keep tabs on everything going on in the Arconia. After a couple murders, you might want to have some cameras installed. Makes sense, but it just doesn't make sense, and nobody seems mentally perturbed about the fact that their safe space, seemingly not a safe space. Everyone is walking in and out of Charles's room, and everyone is peeping on each other. You gotta get out of the building. At this point, this season has finally convinced me you gotta get out. Also, the night of Lester's death, I guess another addendum. Perhaps the reason why Lester was looking up was because of the penthouse that he was hoping to buy for Loretta. He knew that this was his last moments, so he looked up. I don't know. It's just a sad creative choice from the directors and showrunners. At this point, I don't know. I feel like I am being pushed around in a fountain. But mark my words, the call that bird whistle makes, I guarantee you, is the call of the fifth bird. But also maybe not. I don't know if I trust the writers anymore. That is it. That is all I have to say this week. Honestly, there's not much, but there you go. I am hoping. Let's hope together that next week we're actually giving something to work with. I am getting a little worried. I'm not gonna lie. I'm getting worried. This is how it also felt last season, truly, with the Westies. Episode 5 and 6 was starting to get a little bit worrisome, and then the rest of the episodes were pretty good. So maybe it's just that. Again, fingers crossed. Let me know in your comments below. What do you think? Who do you think is the murderer? I still think it's George. I don't know. Maybe we'll see a flashback episode. Hopefully. We have 3 more left. Come on, guys. Is this how you guys feel during like sports, like March Madness and fantasy football? Once again, leave your comments in the comments down below. My social media links are in the description below, and I will see you next time. You've just been Montified.